don't always listen to your friends. Sometimes your friends are being honest, but, you know, try out some things because, yeah.
Fuck friends.
Yeah, fuck friends.
Hey guys, what's up? My name is Mica-Elgin Vi from Modern Day Fitzgerald. This is going to be numero uno for Modern Day Fitzgerald podcast, MDF podcast.
I didn't know it was one.
Yeah, well, we did a test one, but that didn't count.
Okay. So this is the first one.
This is the first one.
I'm excited.
You're the first person, the first wonderful human being. I'm glad you're the first person, honestly.
All this, well, thank you.
Anyway, if you didn't know already, I am actually here with Miguel.
What's up, guys?
He is has his own project called Middle Theory. It's pretty dope and everything. Anyway, before we get to that, so this whole podcast once again is just understanding what it takes to be a musician out of anything. So we're going to talk about the nuts and bolts. We're going to talk about our success, our struggles, and all that fun stuff too. So I guess before we even start, Miguel, can you introduce yourself really quick?
Yeah, my name is Miguel, and I have a solo project called Middle Theory. You can find it at Middle T Music everywhere, because that's the best handle I could find for that. But I am switching soon to just going by my name because I found out most places were just billing me by Miguel anyway. Yeah. So I'm going to be going by Miguel Antonio. So it will be switching, but if you follow now, it doesn't matter. It'll just switch. And yeah, I've been doing music for a long time, over 20 years. I've toured to the Middle East and back, led a band called Run With It for a good while where we got to do a lot of great things together. And now I am working on building my solo project and figuring out what the hell that looks like in the midst of also, I'm married, I have 4 boys. And so trying to live this rock star life in the middle of a whole lot of responsibilities. So yeah, it's been a fun journey.
That's actually pretty insane. Just because, you know, I knew you, was it back in 2014 or 15, around there?
Yeah.
So when I first started Modern Day Fitzgerald, we did one of our first shows at a dive bar called, crap, what was that? What was that thing called?
I can't remember it either.
Neptune or something?
What's up, Tim and Will? Thanks for joining.
That's you. Anyway.
That's you. That's him. Thanks for being here.
So out of anything, we've been he played with his original lineup, and I played with my own original lineup as well.
Right. I think we were still a funk.
Yeah.
My band Run With It started as this funk band.
Yeah.
And we merged eventually into a pop rock. But yeah, so we were still funk.
Yeah, it was super insane. And we started, I don't know, fairly new, and then now again, you did change sounds to from Run With It now to more of like you said, more of a pop kind of rock kind of thing.
Yeah.
I guess let's start from the very beginning really quick. So so for you, what basically made you start doing music?
You know, it was interesting. I had friends in high school. I wasn't super into music. I was actually really into the idea of going into the military. It was kind of my focus for a while, you know, as much as that can be a focus when you're in middle school and early high school. But I had some friends who started learning instruments, and I saw someone learning the guitar, and I was like, I want to learn that. Yeah. So I went and borrowed someone's guitar, kept it for way too long, and I still remember learning "Come As You Are." Playing Come As You Are, you know, super complicated. And my fingers were raw, and I was like, yeah, this is amazing. But it was, before even really knowing how to play guitar, I was writing songs. Yeah. And there was something in me that just wanted to write and write. But I was always convinced that I wasn't a singer. I had people say when I was younger, I would sing, and they're like, oh man, you sound horrible. And that was just burned in my brain. It was like,
oh, that's...
I know, cool. They're shitty friends, right? but I was just convinced I wasn't a singer. So I was I write, I play guitar. This is what I do. In my senior year of high school, I had written a song, one of my first songs. And the girl I was dating at the time, she was a phenomenal singer. And I said, hey, there's this talent show coming up. Can I go ahead and play my song for you, have you sing it, and I'll just back you up? And I played it for her, and I was super broody, you know, broody guitar guy. I look up, and she's in tears.
Oh, my God.
And she's like, I can't sing that. I can't sing that for you. And I was like, why not? And she goes, because you need to sing it. That was amazing. I was like, no, I'm not a singer. I don't sing.
Yeah.
And she eventually convinced me, went out, we did this talent show, and it was like my first show, and it's like 200, 300 people there from the high school, and everyone's like, dude, where have you been? Why have you been hiding this? And next thing I know, I go to college and focus on vocal performance where I find myself. So don't always listen to your friends. Sometimes your friends are being honest, but, try out some things because,
Fuck friends.
Yeah, fuck friends.
That's gonna be the clip.
That's the clip. So maybe that's the title.
Yeah, fuck friends. No. So now you mentioned you went to college for vocal performance. Where did you go?
I started at a little private college called Manhattan Christian College.
Okay.
Eventually transferred next door to K-State, and they're known more for opera. And so that was a weird fit because I'm not an opera guy. And I actually, my first vocal, he was second or third because they were pushing me through a lot of vocal professors because we just didn't get along.
Yeah.
And this guy, he ended up being my professor for a good while, my private instructor. And he tried to convince me to quit singing rock music. I was leading a band at the time as well for 2 years and commit myself to opera for 2 years. And I was like, bro, I can't do that. And he's like, well, I'm not going to teach you. So you go for a week, come back, tell me what your answer is. And I came back, it's like, dude, I will work my ass off for you, but I'm not quitting my rock band. He goes, okay, well, I'll teach you for a semester, but we probably won't work out well together.
Oh, shit.
And so I busted my ass, and he was hard on me, down to the point where I'd have a late show and come in and my voice is trash because I was singing horribly wrong, not using good technique. And he just would kick me out of the studio. He was like, don't ever come back to my studio like this. And I mean, he was hard on me, but he pushed me so much and showed me, just expanded what my voice could do. And by the end of the semester, he's like, you know what? I'll keep teaching it. And I worked with him for about 2 more years, I think. Okay. And he was, I learned so much from him, and it's super valuable. So K-State.
So out of anything, you were technically, I guess, classically trained, with opera?
Sort of, yeah. We did opera. We did some musical theater. Okay. My favorite one was Empty Chairs and Empty Tables from Les Mis. Like that. And that's funny is I was never a musical guy, musicals, meaning, and it just wasn't my scene. But then I started falling in love with some of these songs where I kind of get a little teary-eyed thinking about the opening of that song now. So it was very beneficial, and what we ended up working on was applying the opera and the musical theater technique to my rock voice, and again help me sing things that I never thought I could sing.
And I think it's really important to do too. Is that a lot of musicians I've been talking to is no, I don't I just do it because I just feel it. It's that's cool. And I thought that too. It was I guess when I first started this band, drinking whiskey.
Oh yeah.
And
it's hard to not drink whiskey. So.
Drinking whiskey and then just singing and be very raw. And then who was it? I was talking to Jessica Page, and then she was listening to one of my new songs, and it's I like it. Did you do a vocal warm-up before you did it? It's oh. She called me out like that. I'm like, oh.
She's like, I like it. Could have been better.
No, and that was the thing she asked me. Do you do vocal warm-ups before you sing? Do you do vocal warm-ups before you even play a show? I was like, no.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to? And it's yeah. And then we talked about it, and it just came to a point where it's not only the guitar is my instrument, but the your voice is the overall instrument itself. So how do we...
And in my opinion, maybe I'm biased because I'm a lead singer, but I think it is for a band. If I were a manager, my main concern would be the health and the skill level of the lead singer of that band.
And so lately now, I guess for me is that I've been doing a lot of vocal warm-ups before practice.
That's awesome.
And even when we did our show, we just went to a green room or sometimes to our car, and we just do vocal warm-ups inside, and then no one can hear us kind of thing. So, but that's super insane. So for you, just the idea that you did start technically to be quote unquote vocally classically trained. So, so you graduated from there, and then
after way too long, but I finally did.
And then you went ahead and started, like when does Run With It come about?
Well, so for me, the very first band I had was 6-year run. Is called The Rest of Us, and we kind of did the regional thing, and eventually got a development deal. Went out to Nashville, recorded a demo to kind of pitch to the small little record label kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. Well, in that moment was where all the people in the band were like, oh shit, this is getting for real. And I'm like, we need to get on the road. We need to do all these extra things. And they realized it's kind of the cliche, like, oh, we had our development deal and well, everyone got married, they graduated college and we're all like, boom. So here I was, no band and trying to figure things out. And then I just kind of, I did cover gigs. I actually worked in churches. I was a worship leader for a long time, which is like a whole other end of my story. But I really kind of gave up the idea of touring and building my own music. And that's during that period is when I met my wife, and she had 2 boys, my stepsons, Trey and Israel. And it was one of those, we got married, she married me, I had this stable job and was like, had the benefits, all that kind of stuff and living that kind of life. And I don't know if it was like, she saw in me that I was still missing something, but I could feel I was missing something. Yeah. I wanted something more from my own craft, I guess. And she's like, why don't you start a band again? Why don't you try to do that? And I was like, okay, if you're behind it, this would be kind of cool. And so that was probably 8 years ago now, because Run With It, we were together about 6 years. Got it. And, after she said that, found some players, put it together, got our first gig. And from there, just started trying to build it. So yeah, I had this hiatus though of working in churches, basically doing covers of everyone else's music and enjoying it because it was fun. I love doing that, and there's nothing wrong. I do a lot of cover gigs still to bring in money, but yeah, it was amazing to have that support to go into it. Even down the point where our third son, we have 4 boys. Our third son was born, had a lot of stomach issues. It was right when we were starting Run With It. And I was working 50, 60 hours a week with my regular job. And then every night was doing music and doing the band stuff, trying to get that. Because I kind of, when I do something, I try to dive way all in. And that's the way I went at it. And she called me up. She hadn't slept, I think, for like 3 months because he had a lot of health stomach issues and was just crying and crying. She's in tears. She's like, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing my mind. And I was like, you know what? This is dumb. I need to grow up. I need to not do this band thing. This is stupid. And she goes, no, that'll be stupid. You're not going to quit. This is a season. We're going to get through it. And I was like shocked because for me, I'm like, yeah, maybe this dream is over. But she's like, no, we're going to figure it out. And that's where I eventually came to her about 1.5 years later and said, hey, for this band to really work, I'm going to have to leave my job. And she's like, okay, we'll figure it out. And it's like she went from being a stay-at-home mom to starting her own business to help support us while we're on the road. And then, like I said, she married this guy who was super stable, life, all that kind of stuff. And next thing you know, I'm on the road 2 weeks at a time and coming back home and trying to help with the kids and all that. And we did that, I think, for 2 or 3 years with Run With It. And even as Run With It came to an end, like financially, it was still really hard just to kind of make ends meet. Gotcha. We almost lost our house, all that kind of stuff. And I, again, thought my dream was over. And because I'm like, I just can't keep doing this. I can't put my family through this. And we were drinking whiskey one night. And she looks at me. She's like, there's got to be a way. I think you can figure it out. There's got to be a way. And that's what kind of started this whole idea of a solo project. Just to where it's easier to manage expenses, easier to tour as needed, and I can fly in, fly out, be home more if I need to be, and those kind of things. So yeah, that's kind of where the adventure is at right now. But
that's kind of insane though, and like because I knew you had a family and everything, so I didn't know. I guess like my later question was going to be this, but since we're on this topic, is that like. There has been some struggles. Yeah.
That's what you're just like the wins and the struggles. When you talk to them in the morning, I just laugh because it's like, Jesus,
there's so many. But the fact that like kind of got me in is that like, a lot of people who wants to start being a musician, wants to start being in a rock band and so on and so forth, like it's not only affecting you, but it's affecting the people you love around you.
Absolutely.
And for its good and for its bad, like the word's worse. So it's like, how do you go on about and actually balance enough? And just hearing the idea of the story is that, like, you know, like you had someone by your side, like on the ring side and everything, so in your corner. So it's like no, let's, like, what the fuck are you doing? Go ahead and continue, because you're not happy with the way you are. And the fact that you know, so many struggles and everything is going on at home, but they're still pushing you to keep doing what you're doing and everything.
Yeah.
So
she's even looked at me. She's like, I mean, I'll be honest. I wish you would be happy with the 9-to-5 job. Like,
yeah.
and she's like, but I know you won't. I know this is like in you. So it's like, let's just figure out how to do it, but let's do it smarter. Let's just keep learning and growing and do it smarter and smarter as we progress. And it's, I don't know if I'd still be doing it now without her prompting me along. And I know, you know, I've had band members whose wives basically gave them an ultimatum, you know, in the past where like we can't keep doing this. And it's not even a negative thing to them, because this life is not for everybody. So I don't look badly on that.
Yeah.
It's just for them, it was like, we can't keep doing this. You know, we need to go to counseling. We need to figure this shit out. But this band thing's not working. And unfortunately, I think that's a lot of stories for a lot of people. I feel very lucky to have that kind of support.
I guess since we're on the topic, is that, like, how do you, I guess, in a way, balance the family life and, you know, being a working musician? Because I guess to give some feedback to everybody and for the audience is that, like, you know, Miguel has been being a fantastic working musician since for a very good long time, and in a good sense, of course. But like not only have you been touring, not only have you been, you know, again, doing stuff like overseas to here, to even like have a fucking good fan base, like to the point where you're just engaging with everybody. And like I guess, like, I always have a question with someone who has that kind of, like, to me personally, I think it's a quote unquote success.
Well, thank you.
And everything, because I'm still I'm still gaining some things, but you're like already have, my opinion, a quote success. Is that so? But anyway, the main question for you is that, how do you personally, I guess like balance the family life and the working musician life?
Yeah, I think for me, I had a mentor once challenged me on the idea of balance, and I really held on to what he told me, because I kept talking about balance, because I never felt balanced about anything. And he's like, think of it less of balance and think about living in tension. Just like music has tension and push and pull. Rubber band has tension and push and pull, where there's times where, or even like dancing, there's tension. Like if you do salsa dancing, I'm Puerto Rican, so I learned a little salsa along the way. I'm not very good, but where it's like you kind of lean in to one position and then you lean back, and that's like the dance, the tension. And so there's times where, like I said, where we'd be on tour for like 2.5 weeks. But then when I come home, it's like, shut everything off for a while. And it's like, I'm going to take, and in fact, I just saw in the memories in Facebook, I showed my wife, I was like, this was a cool season. I can't wait to get back to the season where we were touring so much. Yeah. But I had pictures of us at a skate park with my boys.
That's
and the caption I wrote was, I love being on the road and I love being with my family. It's because I really love both aspects. And I remember that season actually very fondly, because even though it's hard to be away, when I came home, I was like all in at home. Yeah. And so I think that's the thing. It's not really a balance where it's like some season. Right now I'm in a season of getting all of our finances caught back up. So my wife's working a ton. I'm working a ton. So it's like, all right, I'm going to get in at night and give him a hug and a kiss when we can. Like today, I got to watch him jump on the trampoline a little bit, before coming over here for this. And I'll go work as well. I'm doing like a part-time job as well, just kind of filling the gaps. And I'll go to that tonight and hopefully see them a little bit before they go to bed. So it's like trying to squeeze in the moments when I can, and knowing that each thing's a season and living in that tension. So
that's insane. Like that's just
I don't know
really
if that
cool.
makes sense, but that's what makes sense to me.
I guess for you then, it's like when you're when you're on the road, when you're doing your music stuff, you're there. Yeah. But then when you're at home, cut everything off, shut everything off, but then just be intentional with your family. Like, don't let work sneak in.
Right, which is a challenge because sometimes it pops up. But yeah, it is that thing where, and it's easy because honestly, when you're on the road, I always told my wife, I was like, it's that first day on the road and the last day of this tour. Yeah, those are the hardest days. first day because your heart just hurts. You're like, oh my God. But then once you get in it, I'm such a like driven person. Once you're on the road, it's like, all right, we're going. Let's do interviews. Let's meet new people. Let's play shows. Let's do this thing. But then that last ride home, you're like, which usually is like this long, stupid 12 to 18 hour drive kind of thing.
I love those.
And it's like, oh my God, I just want to be home. I miss everybody. But yeah, when you're on the road, it's just like you're all in. And then again, when you come home and being intentional to where there's not Gary V, we were talking about him, my Lord and Savior, Gary Vaynerchuk. But what he talked about is like where so many people think the 9-to-5 regular job is the ideal for being a dad. But he's like, think about what most people do. They'll come home, they'll watch 3 hours of TV, play Xbox, and barely see their kids. It's like, yeah, you're home.
That's true.
But what are you doing? So it's like, when I'm with them, it's like, what can we do? Let's go for a walk. Let's go. We have little trails by our house. Let's go on the trails and try to soak up the time. And right now it sounds like I'm like this awesome father. Like there's so many mistakes along the way. It's just trying to leverage the time that we have as much as possible.
And I think that's a very good call out is that like, everyone that's, even having a normal job,
right?
Quote unquote normal job. And the fact is, love you, Will. Exactly right.
Thanks, Will.
But overall, it's that like the fact of the matter is that like, again, even if you have a normal job, even if you're a working musician, the fact of the matter is that like, yes, when you're at work, go all ham, go do your things, go grind and hustle, do your thing. But when you're at home, either with a family or a significant loved one, do your best to devote all that time with them and make it very intentional. And, and the fact of the matter is too is that like you're right, like there are some people who go home and see their kids for a little bit. It's like, all right, cool, you guys go away, I'm gonna go play Call of Duty and then go all at it, but then don't spend time with their kids. But I guess for me personally, it's like I live with my significant other right now, and and she knows that when I'm out and about, I'm networking, I can go late as night, but then when I'm with her, it's like I'm devote all my, my attention to her. We talk about like, work. Technically, work is music, so we talk about that. But then I don't go ahead and bring in like, cool, let me just go ahead and like, text someone really quick. You go talk whatever. I'm gonna text the record person. Like, no, I am intentionally with you and only with you. So I think that's a very good call out with that one. So again, like I know it's a struggle, but it looks like you're being consistent with it, and it looks like that you're finding things that work out and everything.
Yeah,
so.
and every season, like right now, again, we're in a different season where financially we're trying to catch back up from just the barrage of life being on the road and trying to really make it. And so like even today, I was sitting down with my calendar and my wife and I are texting back and forth like, hey, what are we doing Friday? Okay. And just that huge communication of trying to figure out this season. And luckily it looks like things will be shifting come May and June for us to where things open up a little bit. So now we'll figure out that season. And but I think the seasons and the talking and you had said something too, where it's like, I'm not going to take this phone call when I'm with my significant other. I think that's the piece too, of just knowing every time you do, you're pulling change away. Like, and you only have so much change that you can like cash in on that. And so like, there's been times my family have sacrificed things that we had planned because a big opportunity came by. But at the same time, there's huge opportunities I've actually left on the table because for example, we had a Disney World trip booked that someone else had paid for us for, which is an amazing gift. My mom gave it to us as a gift and everything. And we had a huge opportunity, like very huge. And I did everything I could on my end to try to get the people to move the opportunity. But they wouldn't, and they wouldn't budge. And I was like, okay, sorry. These are memories. We're gonna go create them with my family, and I feel good about it. Like I honestly do, and I think those things. It's like that was putting change back in because I know there'll be times down the road where they'll probably sacrifice something. They'll have to sacrifice something.
It's a give and take with that whole thing. So now before, because like we can talk all about this a lot.
I know I could talk about that all day.
But so I guess one of the main things that I definitely want to ask is because again, I guess going towards the nuts and bolts of the early stages of you being a musician and everything.
Right.
I guess what what did that look like? It's just the idea that you were able to get opportunities, you were able to, you know, tour, you're able to go ahead and like even play overseas over Afghanistan, right? Or
we went to Qatar.
Qatar, okay.
Which is, I think, like Saudi Arabia, if I remember my geography right, and Qatar is like the small little country, right under.
And that was for like for the U.S. troops and everything too.
Yeah, we played at OD Air Force Base.
Okay, dope. So. Yeah. So like, I guess everyone, you know, I guess my audience itself too wants to know is like, how are you able to get these opportunities?
Yeah.
Like, I want to know, like, how are you able to like decide to like, oh yeah, we're just gonna play for the U.S. Army, no big deal. We're just gonna go over there.
Well, I would say 3 things. I almost said 2, but probably 3 things that really shifted for us that began to open those doors.
Yeah.
One was the right personnel. I'm a super businessy nerd, so I'll say words like personnel, but like who you're working with, whether it be your band members. Like even for me, I still work with people behind the scenes, even though I'm a solo artist.
Yeah.
It's like choosing your bandmates well, knowing that you all are on the same page. And again, it's not, even if you're not on the same page and it doesn't work out, it's not bad. I think that's sometimes hard to accept, but sometimes band members leaving and those kind of things can be a really good thing for them and for you. But knowing that you're all on the same page and knowing that you got the right fit, the right people who are bought all in. That was a key component for us that began to shift things.
Yeah.
2 was spare nothing on your main product, which for musicians is your music.
Yes.
So like we went all in. We basically, the producer we worked with, I told him previously we did one album where I was like, I got like $1,500. What can you do for this? And he was like, I can do this and this, but wait, man, just save up your money and let's do real production. Let's really get the best out of this.
Oh, shit.
And I didn't like the album. I wasn't happy with it.
Yeah.
And he kind of did a I told you so afterwards. and the next time we put all of our money into creating a really solid album. I wrote 60 songs for a 6-song EP.
Yeah.
Tried to get the best things that we could, out of it. So we went all in on trying to get our product the best that it could possibly be. And that shifted. And then the third thing was simply going out there and meeting as many people as we could.
Yeah.
And meeting them not in a way of like, hey, not opening the conversation with like, hey, what can you do for me? But like, what can I learn from you? That was one thing, because there's some people we reached out to that there's nothing we could offer them.
Yeah.
It's like literally there's some conversations that started with, hey, I know we're nowhere near you being able to work with us, like some upper level record people. But I have these questions. And surprisingly enough, they were mentors. They said, hey, work on this and this and this. And then over a few years, just getting more and more advice from them. Like, hey, can you work on that? And the 4th thing was social media. Social media was a huge thing for us. After all that, the social media told a story of those things. And those are the components that I think opened the door, even down to the Middle East thing. That was crazy for us. We're in Nashville recording, and I get an email. They found us online, and they're like, hey, once you come out to Middle East, play for troops, and you've been in the music long enough, you get a lot of dumb emails where people are like, yeah, we want you to do this. And I was like, right, that's
3 today.
Yeah,
3 today.
Exactly. But it sounded cool enough where I'm like, okay, I researched the company and got back with the person. I'm like, how'd you hear about us? And what it was a fan who saw us at a small club here in Kansas City play. And it was 2 years before that that he saw us and followed us on social media. So they kept up with us. They knew who we were and what we were doing. And then he ended up being like sergeant major or something of the base there. And they asked him, who do you want to bring in? And he said, run with it.
Oh my God.
And they went and checked our stuff out because it was all out there to see. And because we were guarding our product and what we were doing, they were like, yeah, they're legit. Let's bring them out. And we were like, whoa. So it's all those components kind of piecing together.
So 4 things. One you said was
our personnel, the people.
The people around you. You also mentioned go all in. Like basically don't just half-ass your money. Don't just put like random stuff into it. Like actually like, hey, I want to make an album. I will to make this particular sound, I need to put this much money in.
Right.
So
and the caveat of that being like, don't be afraid to post like videos of you just doing funny shit at home, or like, because I think sometimes people go overboard on making everything they put out perfect. It was just that we knew we wanted our release to be like the pristine thing, where then we did a bunch of cover videos and fun stuff. We're just like, oh, we're in the back of the van, let's fuck around.
No, what's up? And then remember the third one.
Man, I was kind of shooting from the hip on that one. So people, the personnel choices. And then the third one was the networking.
Yes,
of just
networking.
Reaching out to as many people as possible. And honestly, like one of the mentors that I have now, well, actually two of them that came out of that was someone said, who do you want to work with? And I was like, I want to work with these people. And they're like managers of huge bands.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, well, try to work with them. And it was like that simple. And I'm like, well, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
I found their emails and just emailed them. Ask them a simple question, let them know I'm not trying to get anything from them, because I know we're not at that level. And it started like, one of them had a 2-year-long relationship where every once in a while when I have like a question that I need answered, they're like, yeah, do this, this, and this. And eventually I needed a lawyer. So they handed me over to another lawyer where I'm like, I can't believe I'm working with this person. What the heck? And so I think you'll be surprised of who would actually talk to you. Now, it's harder if you try to get to the artists, because sometimes artists are guarded.
That's a different story.
Yeah, but like for me, I knew is like it was the managers, the agents that we needed to work with and learn from.
Yeah.
And man, I was just shocked by how open people were once they understood that I'm not trying to get anything from them.
And then fourth one was social media.
Yeah, the social media engagement and content and all this stuff.
Yeah. So everyone, to I guess the idea is to start out and making sure doing the music right or doing the career right. Get your people right. Make sure you know the right people. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and like use the money that you have to make good investments to your product. Third one is definitely networking, making sure you don't go for me personally, it's like don't go to shows and then not talk to the bands. Don't go to shows and do that. There's a whole thing we can do about networking itself. And then fourth one, of course, is social media. Hi, social media.
What's up, guys? That's all.
That's actually a really good call out. And I was always wondering how the fuck were able to go overseas, but that's actually legit. You post something over there, have someone follow you, but then you never know, that person may be a very important person to get in contact with. And
what you'll find out is a lot of promoters, and even in this city, there were promoters that wouldn't give us the time of day.
Yeah,
it was weird because I'd see them in a club, I'm talking to them, and they're super nice.
I
but
see you.
They would not put us on a show for the life of them. Mm. And then we started touring and getting out there. We did the college market, which was a big thing for us, and then going over the Middle East. And all of a sudden, we started having these promoters call us who were like, hey, I got this show. And it was just one show. And after that show went well, hey, I got these 2 shows.
Yeah.
And then as I got to know them, found out they were watching the whole time.
Yeah.
They were watching. They were on email lists. They were watching on Facebook, on Instagram, seeing what you're up to. Shit. But they were protecting. They have to protect their name and their curation.
Yeah.
Because they can't just put a band on and then if they suck, they're like, oh, that looks bad on me. So once they knew oh, these guys are hustling, they're legit, they put it out there. And so you never know who's watching. And really, if you're doing some stuff, they are. They're the people you want to get to put you on.
Yeah. They're
watching. They're just waiting. And so.
It's just the idea of just being consistent and everything. Mm-hmm. We could definitely talk so much about this, and we only scratch the surface. But I think we definitely tackled the idea of, how is it as a working musician to balance, family life and as working musicians, the idea of there is struggles in the beginning and learning about your craft and then forming to what's going on, to even learning the ideas of the 4 main. To your personal thing, the 4 main things to look for or to do as a working musician. So, but I would love to have you back on again.
That'd be awesome.
And
that's fun.
Just scratch, because we just scratched the surface. But the idea is that I think everyone's definitely gonna get value out of this as well too. So
hopefully, and people can reach out to me as well. So it's at Middle T Music. I'm most active on Instagram. I'm on all of them, but most active on Instagram. So you can hit me up there. and booking at middletheorymusic.com.
Book him. He's super dope to just like he seriously, you're like one of the most talented musicians I know in Kansas City. So, but yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and call it for the day. Again, make sure to follow Miguel. He has a lot of things coming up, especially for the future. I have some things coming up, I guess. I don't know. You'll see. What up? Anyway, yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and call it. My name is Mica-Elgin Vi from MDFcast Fitzgerald. Stay classy and cheers. Alone in Tokyo, you decided